Another great night for Florida State football. Jameis Winston is the 2013 Heisman Trophy winner. Joining me now, Campus Insider's managing editor Pete Fiutak. And Pete, I guess the big surprise wasn't that he won. I think everyone expected Jameis Winston would win, but over 100 people left him off their ballots. What do you think of that?
Well, you have to remember that they handed out the Heisman ballots way before I don't want to say the ruling, but the announcement that they didn't have any evidence against him. And, people, I'm sure, just left him off the ballot because in the court of public opinion, there's still some thoughts out there about how things might have gone down. And, again, some people might have decided to vote before the final weekend of the season, which is insane. It's not like Winston was going to do anything to change anybody's mind on the field anyway. But obviously some people just thought, they chose to think for themselves off the field, throw the integrity side of things into the mix. But the reality is there wasn't another option. I mean, if you're going based on the field only, there was not another guy out there to vote for. If there were, there might have been a closer vote. But at the end of the day, A.J. McCarron finishing number 2, that's just kind of fine, whatever. And people just threw him on the ballot. But there really was not a legitimate case to be made for anybody else to win the Heisman Trophy. For me, I vote for who's the signature player of the college football regular season, and that's obviously Winston. Yeah, you're actually a voter for the Heisman. So who was on your ballot? Well, Winston was by far and away number 1, and that wasn't even a consideration. But it took me a while to figure out who's 2 and 3 because, really, who is it? And to me, I kind of see it as, again, the signature player of a season and combination of an MVP, most outstanding player. Because of what he did in the final couple weeks of the season, Trey Mason to take and to do what he did against Alabama, arguably the best defense in the country, and then Missouri, who had one of the best defenses in the country, to take Auburn to the national championship. Nick Marshall could have been in that mix as well, but Trey Mason was my number 2. And then Derek Carr, who all he did was rip apart everybody in his path. I mean, it's a year of the quarterback when quarterbacks are blowing up left and right. He's the only guy to go over 400 yards a game. That team had no defense. It was really him in the passing game, and he came within this close to take him to a BCS game. So to me, it was Derek Carr number 3 and Trey Mason number 2. All right, on the actual voting, it was Jameis Winston, of course, number 1, as you mentioned, A.J. McCarron 2, and Jordan Lynch 3, and then Andre Williams from Boston College 4. Okay, so Jameis Winston, the runaway winner, the 7th largest gap ever, 5th in the modern era, as we'll call it. When were you on board? When did you jump on board and say, this is the guy? I'm only half joking here when literally it was after the Pitt game in the opening week of the season. Right. If you remember at the time, the national discourse was about Johnny Manziel, and in comes Jameis Winston, who, if you remember, that Pitt game was the last game of the weekend. It was on, I believe, a Monday night or Sunday night, but it was the last game. The spotlight was on. It was all Winston. How's this young guy going to perform in the spotlight? He misses 2 passes all game, blows up a good Pitt team, and was just phenomenal. And then the post-game interview, personable, the smile, the attitude. He was kind of like the anti-Manziel in a lot of ways. And at the time I wrote, I was, again, half joking, like, here it is. Here's your Heisman winner. It's over. And he did nothing the rest of the way with a spotlight on against Clemson, against Miami. He came through time again with the off-the-field stuff that was going on. He still performed at a high level, kept it all together, and was the catalyst for a national championship caliber team. So to me, Winston was on that radar from the very start and just never left. No doubt he sets the freshman all-time FBS record in passing yards and touchdowns. He has his team 1 win away from the national championship, and he's the youngest Heisman Trophy winner ever. Oh, it's so scary. He wasn't even born yet when Charlie Ward won his Heisman. It's so sad. We are both old. That is all there is to it. Pete Fiutak, managing editor for Campus Insiders. Really appreciate it. Anytime, Joe.